Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to Sweetwater's iOS Update. This time out, we've got a mobile synthesizer production studio for your iOS device, and I've got an app that will help guitar players learn more about chords and scales. Let's get started. Camel Audio is well known for their Alchemy virtual synthesizer that runs on the Macintosh and a PC. And now the company has released a version, Alchemy Pro, that runs on iOS devices as well. With Alchemy running on an iOS device, you can't create sounds from scratch, but you're given a user interface that gives you a lot of control over those sounds. Over here we've got sliders that allow us to affect things like the filter cutoff, resonance, a variety of other parameters. But the fun part is right here in the middle. We've got two XY controls here that we can move around, and those affect the timbre as we're playing our synthesizer. Then we've got 8 buttons here, and these 8 buttons each store basically versions of that original sound. So at any given time you have access to 8 different versions of a sound at once. Let me show you what I mean. I've got a synth bass patch loaded up. If we click the second button, the third one, the fourth, fifth, sixth, you get the idea. We have 8 different versions of that available. Now we also have our XY pads. So you have a lot of real-time control over your sounds as you're playing your synth. Now Alchemy is a 4-part studio, so you can have 4 different sounds loaded at once. You access those up here. We can have a drum kit loaded into part 1. Part 2 can be a synthesizer. We could have loops loaded up, so a variety of sounds can be loaded in there. We have a mixer here for balancing the level of the 4 sounds. We have mute and solo controls for those as well. Each sound has its own ADSR controls, so you can affect the envelope of the synthesizer. Now, Alchemy comes with a variety of sounds. We access those up here. We have basses, we have pads, we have arpeggiations. We have lead sounds, we have guitar sounds. So a lot of different sounds available to you. Now, as a MIDI sequencer, we have control over the various different parameters there as well. We can create songs, we can work with tracks, we can quantize, we can add swing, so we have control over those as well as we're recording our parts. Now when you download Alchemy, it's a free app. It comes with a variety of sounds. You can do the 4-track sequences, but to really get the most out of it, you have to upgrade to the Pro version, which is $14.99. When you upgrade to the Pro version, you get the ability to save songs, to export to different formats, extended features like being able to remote control Alchemy when it's running on a computer. A lot of things come with that Pro version, including more sounds and more loops. Our Musician's Toolbox app is called Chord, and it's an app I've been using a lot. It's an app that's designed to help guitar players with chords, fingerings, and scales. Let's take a look. Now the Chord app seems very simple. It allows you to look at chords, find the fingerings, find matching scales. You can look at scales, find the fingerings there as well, but it's actually quite sophisticated. We can put in different tunings for the guitar, we can add a capo for the guitar, we can reverse search so we can put in our chords onto cymbals and have it tell us what the name of the chord is and what scales will go with that. So there's a lot we can do with this app. Let's take a look. Here's the chords section. We'll click search. It takes us over here to this screen where we can input both the tonic that we're dealing with or the root that we're dealing with, as well as the type of chord that we have. So we can put in a sus2 chord, the fingering changes here. We can add a different bass note, so we could put that over an E if we wanted to. Again, a different fingering comes up here. We could add a flat 11 to that by clicking here, and it will find the fingering for us. So it's a very sophisticated way to search for the chords that you want to play. We have 2 other ways we can look at this though. First is called Simple Search. With Simple Search, the chords are broken down more by type. So we have our basic triads, we've got our C over E. We can look at different variations on those then based on the name. So we can go to a C minor major 7 over E. We can go to a C augmented 7 over E. So it allows us to look at the flavor that we want to have while staying with that same root. We can also do what are called reverse searches. Let's clear this out here. We'll go back to our reverse search. What we do is tap on the fingerboard, input the notes that we want to play, and it will tell us what chord we're actually fingering, as well as give us a chord diagram for us. Now this is very useful if you're playing chords that you're unfamiliar with, if you've been doing things by ear, but you need to notate what you're playing or pass that along to other players. And we can do the same thing with scales. If we click on C harmonic minor here, A fingerboard diagram comes up that shows us the notes of the scale. We can scroll down to see that higher on the fingerboard if we'd like. By tapping on the notes, you can hear those. So it gives you an idea of what you're working with the scales. Now, in addition to looking at pre-programmed scales, and there are a lot of scales in this app, we can also do a reverse lookup. So you're given a blank diagram of the fingerboard, you can input notes, and the app will tell you the closest scale that it can find that matches with that. It will also tell you a variety of scales that are very close to it. So if you're trying to find a scale that works with the sound or the melody that you're playing, this is a great way to do it. Now, we can also create custom tunings for the guitar, which is very useful if you're trying to find chord shapes that you're playing while you're in an altered tuning. To do that, we click down here, click on this. We can add a new tuning, and at this point, you can set the strings to whatever you'd like them to be. So we can create this tuning. We can take a string out if you want to do just a 5-string tuning. You can add a string back in. So a variety of things you can do there. You can save those tunings so you can pop back and forth. We can add a capo to this. So we can drop a capo at the 3rd fret and see what that does to our tuning. We can hear it as we're playing across. So a lot of features here for creating tunings, for working with scales, for finding chords. There also are features for matching chords to scales, for harmonizing scales. So lots of things that are built into this very useful app for guitar players. I hope you've enjoyed this installment of Sweetwater's iOS update. Be sure to tune in next time. We'll have more apps, more hardware accessories, and more tips on making music with your iOS devices. I'm Mitch Gallagher.